Welcome to today's webinar that discusses how you can use a product lifecycle management system or PLM system to collaborate effectively and reduce the time you spend taking new shoe designs to market. To set the context, we'll begin by looking at managing the design and the engineering process. We'll look at some of the challenges associated with this and how Delcam Crispin ShoeCloud can help solve them. And we'll look at how Delcam Crispin ShoeCloud is used with a demonstration showing just how it makes collaborating easier. And we'll show you how it uses the same security standard as the banking industry to help ensure that all your files and all your communications are stored securely. And then finally, we'll give you an opportunity to ask any questions. But before we start, what is Delcam Crispin ShoeCloud? Well, it's a product lifecycle management system produced specifically for the footwear industry. It helps people, data and processes work seamlessly together from wherever you are around the globe. So how does it do this? Well, taking a shoe from design to manufacture involves a number of people from several departments, and usually these are located in different parts of the world. And the communication can often look something like this. You'll have your designer first of all saying, well, I've done the design, are you happy with it? The manager may well then get back to him and say, could you make some changes? In this instance, could you change the lace holes to eyelets? The designer will then make the changes that have been asked for, and he might ask for approval. When the manager signs that off, he'll then send that to the pattern engineering department so they can create the first samples, and then those patterns will get sent for grading, and then so on and so forth through the development and the engineering process. Knives ordered, bottom tooling ordered, straight through to the finished shoe. So you can see how in a relatively simplified version of the shoe development process, you've already got several people, 3, 4, maybe 5 files being exchanged between these people, and probably several different communication channels which are likely to involve email, phone and online chat systems such as Skype. And the mixture of these communication systems and the mixture of the ways that the files are exchanged between these people can cause communication to become fragmented, and as a result it becomes very difficult to reflect and find out why decisions were made, when they were made and who they were made by, without going through your deleted emails or perhaps your Skype chat history or trying to recall previous telephone conversations. So how can Delcam Crispin ShoeCloud help with this? So to understand this, we'll look at some of the questions that we find shoe manufacturers or shoe developers find are constantly asked through the development process. These questions might be things such as, where is the CAD model for a particular shoe? Which was the latest revision file? Who is supposed to be working on a particular model at the moment, and at what stage in the process is each project? So have patterns been completed? Have the knives been ordered? Has the bottom tooling been ordered? I don't remember agreeing to that, or I don't use CAD but I would like to see the document. So how can ShoeCloud help overcome some of these challenges? Well, with where is the CAD model for a particular shoe, ShoeCloud enables you to store any documents or digital assets remotely or in the cloud on central servers. This makes all files accessible to everybody who needs them wherever they are in the world and at any time. Which is the latest revision file? All documents are stored under revision control. This means ShoeCloud will automatically inform you which is the latest file, when it was created, who created it, and the notes associated with that file will inform the user why that file was created in the first place. So who is supposed to be working on the model at any given time? All documents and associated tasks have an assignee, and this makes it clear who's responsible for each stage of the project. As a document or task is assigned to an individual, ShoeCloud automatically emails them, as well as any listeners. And listeners are those people who might not be directly involved with a project, but they have an interest in how a particular project is developing. For example, your marketing department might be interested on how a shoe is progressing through development, because they will want to plan launching the shoe onto the market and understand how they're going to do that and when they need to do that by. At what stage in the process is each project? All documents and tasks have a start and a due date. You can group tasks into projects with overall project due dates, and you can set milestones as well. If you view ShoeCloud in your web browser, you can see your project as a Gantt chart, and everybody involved can see how their tasks contribute to project completion. We found that this is a really good way to get your staff working together, collaborating to make better, more objective and more informed decisions, because they understand how their task impacts the overall project. I don't remember agreeing to that. Documents and associated tasks have a full history of all discussions, so you can easily recall why a decision was made without having to trawl through your deleted emails folder, Skype chat history, or recall previous phone calls. I don't use CAD, but would like to see the document. It's likely that perhaps some of your project managers or perhaps your marketing department who don't have access to CAD software want to see the designs which are being produced or developed at the moment. Well, with ShoeCloud, every document can have a number of fast view files associated, and they can be viewed on a regular web browser without the need for CAD software. They can be viewed as JPEGs, or they can be viewed as 3D PDF files, and we'll show you all about this a little bit later on in the product demonstration. So what does ShoeCloud look like? How is it used? Well, first of all, it integrates into any Delcam Crispin CAD product, or it can be used in a web browser. And not everybody has to use it in the same way. Your design team, for example, they might choose to use it in Shoemaker Pro or Shoemaker. Your pattern engineers might choose to integrate it into Engineer Pro, whereas your project managers, well, they might choose to access it in their web browser. But either way, all the files are stored in a single central location. So here it is integrated into one of our CAD products, Shoemaker Pro. You can still open and save all your files from your local disk, just as you usually would, but the tree menu on the left hand side allows you to check in or check out files from the central server quickly and easily. Below the tree menu you have a full history of discussions, which makes it easy to track when decisions were made and why. And then this drop down menu just here, well, that's easy to use, and this is how you assign a document to the next person. For example, as we saw in the illustration earlier, if you're a designer, you might want to assign your design to your manager to take a look at, to get feedback, or to sign off and to send through to the first stages of pattern engineering. So if your department doesn't use CAD software, you can also use ShoeCloud in your web browser. And as you can see on the left hand side here, the folder structure is exactly the same as when it's integrated with a CAD package, because all the files are stored in the same central location. This makes navigation easy, whatever workstation you're at, and it provides consistency across all departments. Checking in new documents is just as easy. You just use the standard Windows Browse button and the standard Windows filing system, which is something you'll already be familiar with. And then, just as in the CAD viewer, all conversations can be viewed easily, and they can be viewed at any time. It's all fully searchable. ShoeCloud creates metadata, so if you've got a particular discussion that you're searching for, or perhaps a file that you're searching for, you can search for it quickly using the search box or the search function just here, and you add new replies to a discussion by just filling in the simple text box at the bottom of the screen there, and then you hit the send button. And your contribution to this good discussion will be automatically emailed to everybody involved in the project. Each individual file associated with a particular project or task is stored in the bottom right hand corner of the screen here. And as you can see with ShoeCloud, there's no need to jump between several different screens or several different programs, because everything you need for a project is hosted in one easy to use central location. One of the really good functions actually in ShoeCloud is the ability to group several tasks in order to create projects, because this makes it easy to monitor how an overall project is progressing. And if a particular task is running late, you can see it via a traffic light system, and it allows you to understand how, by viewing it as a Gantt chart as we've got here, you can understand how that project running late, or how that particular task running late will affect the overall completion of the project, and that allows you to plan ahead proactively and reduce the risk of crisis control further down the line. Imagine I'm the manager of a design department. I've just received an email from one of my designers via ShoeCloud informing me that they've produced a design they'd like me to take a look at. How can ShoeCloud help me do this? I've opened ShoeCloud within Shoemaker Pro, which is my design software here, and I can instantly see the designers.shoe file by going into the relevant folder. I know she's designed a formal shoe, and I know it's a lady's shoe, I know it's a court shoe. And if I look down here at her comments, she said, "I've designed this simple court shoe, let me know your thoughts." So what I'll do, I'll check this out onto my local computer. In this instance, I'll save this onto my desktop. And what this will do, it'll save the file locally onto my computer, and that enables me to edit it. On the left hand side, in the meantime, it's giving me, or ShoeCloud is giving me, a running commentary of what it's doing, and I can see here that the document has saved on my local folder. So I've got this open now on my own computer, and in the meantime this file has been locked to anybody else using ShoeCloud, which what that does is that prevents two people from opening the file at the same time and unwittingly overwriting each other's changes. So I'm now ready to review the shoe. Well, I like the design, but I'd like to make a change to the type of fabric that's used. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this as a design variant. So in order to do that, I've clicked on the design variant tab here, and I've clicked on register a variant, and that's saved the variant just down here. What a variant means is I can make changes to the shoe without overwriting the original design that the designer has done. So to change the fabric, I'll click here, which is on the Fabrics tab, and I'll select the particular type of fabric I want, which in this instance is in the Textile 1 tab here, and I'm going to drag my chosen fabric up onto the shoe. And as you can see, it's changed it nice and quickly. I'm just going to change this back panel here. Okay, and you can see that nice and easily, nice and quickly, I've changed the design. Well, I haven't changed the design, I've changed the fabric used on the shoe, and I'm going to save that as a second design variant. And as we can see, we've got both design variants down here now. If I want to look at these, I can simply drag this one in or drag this one in here, and my designer will be able to do exactly the same. So I'm fairly happy with this shoe now, and I'm happy to send that to pattern engineering for them to produce a first sample. So what I'll do, I'll save this first of all just onto my local desktop, and then I'll check in and assign that to the pattern engineering department. And what I'll say is, I'm happy with the design, but I've made a suggestion for a different type of fabric. Feel free to let me know your thoughts. In the meantime, I've sent to pattern engineering to produce a first sample, as I like the design itself. My pattern engineer's initials are SAW. So if I hit OK now, this will save back into the cloud and it will assign it to the pattern engineer. But because my designer is also interested, because she sent me the initial file and is involved in the project, it will automatically keep her updated with how we're progressing. Now before I move on, what I'm going to do is open the file again from my desktop, but this time I'm going to save it as a fast view file. And what that means is that will enable later on for other teams in other departments that don't have CAD software, it'll enable them to look at the shoe on their own workstation. And we'll show you that a little bit later, but in the meantime what we'll do, we'll just click on Fast View here, and then I'll click Save, Check In, and this will take a few moments now just to convert the format from a CAD file to a PDF file and also to a JPEG file, which is the formats that we'll view the file in later on when we open it in Internet Explorer. So this is just saving now. It takes a few moments simply because it's having to convert the file, and on the left hand side I can see here that it's currently processing the information, and now that has complete. So we're finished now in Shoemaker, so I can close this down and we can move on to see what this would look like once the engineering department open it. So I'm now in Delcam Crispin Engineer Pro, which is our 2D engineering software, and to open ShoeCloud I'll just go to File and I'll click ShoeCloud in the drop down menu, and what you'll see in a couple of moments is exactly the same tree menu here appearing. Once again, I'm accessing the file from exactly the same location, even though I could be in a different office or even in a different part of the world, in a different time zone. And what I'm going to do is just click once on the file and scroll down, and I can see the comments that my design manager left me earlier. And he says I'm happy with the design, he's made a suggestion for a different type of fabric, and he's asked the designer to let them know his thoughts, but in the meantime he's letting me know that he sent it to pattern engineering to produce a first sample as he likes the pattern itself. So in exactly the same way I'm going to check this out once again onto my own local folder. In this case I'm saving it into my engineering folder. So if I click on save, in exactly the same way, that will save it nice and quickly, and then this file is ready for editing. So you can see that the .shoe file that we created earlier in Shoemaker has automatically created the initial set of patterns ready for the final engineering steps. It's created all the baselines, it's created all the margins, all the mirrors, and many of the other features that you need for a pattern. It's also created the boundaries and the parts. Now there's one part which is crossing over just here. It needs a little bit of alteration, but because Shoemaker has set up all the necessary dependencies between the lines, it makes it nice and easy for the engineering department to make the necessary adjustments and then check it back in to the cloud. So let's just do that now. So I'm going to select the necessary baseline here. I'm then going to rotate the pattern just slightly, just to open it out a touch. There we go. So as we can see, these are no longer overlapping anymore. I can select that I want to accept that change, save it onto my local desktop, and then select ShoeCloud from here and upload back into the cloud nice and quickly. So select ladies' shoes. You can see the padlocks appeared. This is informing me that I've got the file open, so it's unlocked to me, but that padlock would appear locked to anybody else, again to ensure that no two people at the same time can go into the folder or into the same file and overwrite each other's changes. So I'm going to check this back in, and that will now be sent to the cutting department, who will cut the first sample of the shoe. We can see it's processing the file here, and now we can see that it's been successfully checked in as a document by the user engineering. Now I haven't got ShoeCloud installed directly onto my laptop here. This is all operating directly from the cloud, from an external server, as you would be using it in your own business. So the kind of speed that you're seeing us use it with here is the kind of speed you could expect to experience if you had it installed in your own business. So let's have a look at how a non-CAD user can use ShoeCloud using a regular web browser. Well, I'll open up ShoeCloud here, and this is what my home page would look like. Any tasks would appear on the left hand side here, which might be associated with projects, and any meetings that I might set up using ShoeCloud. You can schedule meetings and record minutes. They would appear on my right hand side here, and as these task deadlines approached or these meetings approached, I'd get automatic emails sent to my inbox to tell me exactly when what was due. As we can see on the left hand side here, we have a tree menu which is exactly the same as the tree menu that we saw in the two CAD packages we used earlier. And this illustrates how ShoeCloud gives you consistency across the whole of the business. So let's have a look. I know that the shoe we've been using is in formal shoes, and I also know it's a ladies shoe. So if I click on this here, I can see the court shoe pink that I've been looking at just there. So I'll select this, and what this will do, this will load up a preview of the file. If I select it from the, if I select the relevant shoe here, so the preview of the file is here, and the reason it's here is because the version that I created it in was version 3, and you can see this is a JPEG, and it's nice and easy to view, so any department can get a quick view of what the latest shoe designs look like. What we can also do is use an interactive PDF which shows the shoe in a little bit more detail. Now this will take a couple of moments to load up because it's a 3D interactive file, and it takes a little bit longer to load than just your regular PDF, but you'll see why in just a couple of moments when that appears on the screen. You don't need any additional software for this. The only software you do need is a free version of Adobe Acrobat, which you can download for free off the internet. So here we have the shoe that we had designed in Shoemaker Pro earlier and engineered in Engineer Pro, and if I go to the tree menu here, I can easily remove the last by selecting those first 3 tabs. And what we have is a fully interactive shoe. I can change the type of lighting, so I can have daylights, we could perhaps have bright lights. I always find that CAD optimized lights seem to work the best, and as we can see, the shoe is interactive. I can drag it round, I can zoom in and I can zoom out and get a good idea of what the shoe looks like. Although Delcam Crispin ShoeCloud is a new product for the Crispin family. Although Delcam Crispin ShoeCloud is a new product for the footwear industry, it's a footwear version of a product that's already been it's already established by Delcam. The product on which it's based has been used successfully by a range of businesses for many years, so it's tried and tested, and in fact Delcam runs the whole of its international business using the product. All of our software development projects are tracked and monitored on here. All specifications, documents and procedures are stored using the document control system which we demonstrated earlier, and we coordinate over 350 offices located in 70 countries using this system, so it works on an international scale, and it's robust and it's reliable. Within ShoeCloud, there's a flexible yet easy to use system of security group permissions, so you can control who sees what. What this means is you can have different groups of people who are allowed to see different levels of information. So for example, your senior management team, you might want them to see all of the information that's available on the system, whereas your middle managers, you might only want them to see information that's relevant to the projects that they are working on or they've worked on in the past. We understand that transferring important data requires a highly secure storage system, and this is why ShoeCloud uses the same SSL encryption as the banking industry, and this ensures that all your documents and communications are protected with the highest possible level of security. Large documents can be spread over multiple servers, though they'll still be accessible from a single central location. And finally, you can choose to host ShoeCloud either on site or you can host it here at Dalcam. I hope this gives you a good insight into ShoeCloud and the benefits it offers to the shoe manufacturing industry. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. My address is ije@dalcam.com. My name is Ian. Thank you very much for attending.